Hi there, this is H. Victoria Hogro Atkerson. I'm an author and a writer, and I love writing. It's like a burning passion that I have that won't go away. I do many hours of writing every day, and that time is so special to me. I'm very excited when I try to teach other people to do this task and also encourage people, especially people of color. We are so smart. We have so many wonderful stories to tell that I think we have a responsibility to put it out there. The world is waiting to hear our stories because this is something that hasn't happened in a long time. Only a few privileged people have been able to enter this market, and I think that is something we need to correct. I often have heard people say, "Oh, you wrote another black book." Well, my answer is you read another white book all the time. So what's wrong with having a mass number of black books on the market? What's wrong with that? Huh? We are just as good. Our stories are, I think, more dramatic than any stories on the planet because our existence has been dramatic. So that is a given. And I would like to share something because I keep getting this question over and over again. What do I have to do to become a writer? What do I have to do? Well, I boiled it down to four things. Four. First of all, you have to identify with the profession, identify yourself, accept the responsibility of being a writer. You have to say, I'm a writer. And look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm a writer. Tell your friends, introduce yourself as a writer. And I remember the first time that I accepted this role, I had written maybe about four books by that time, but I was at a party with a friend, and the friend knew that I wrote all the time, and she had read a couple of my stories, and she loved them. So when we got to this party, she introduced me because I had no idea who anybody was. She introduced me. This is my friend, Victoria, and she's a writer and blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying, I'm a writer. She introduced me as a writer. This is really cool. I thought it was really great. It was like a affirmation for me, for someone to identify who I was in a profession that I loved. So I suggest to anyone who's thinking about being a writer, the first thing you have to do is accept the role, accept it, and do the job. Do the job, which is next. That's number two. Do the job. If you are a writer, my favorite thing to tell people is a writer writes. You cannot be a writer if you are always thinking about writing and never do anything. You only become a writer when you put that pen to the paper or put your fingers on that keyboard. Whichever you prefer works fine, but you have to accept the responsibility first, then you have to do the job. And number three, you have to perfect that job. You have to make sure that what you're doing is worthy of publication. So work hard, do the hard work of sitting there creating these stories. Whatever you decide to do, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and there are many ways to do both. I write novels basically, but I have done some nonfiction. I haven't published any yet, but that's something I'll be working on. Okay, but this is something that you just have to think about. And then last thing that you have to do, the number four, is to get published. A lot of us, black people, people of color, we write wonderful things and we just let it sit there. And I can use my own mother as an example. She wrote poetry, wonderful poetry, and I didn't really appreciate it at the time, although I thought it was real special. my head wasn't into writing. So I saw it as something valuable that she did, but she never got published. And of course, those poems are lost because no one has any idea where those papers are. They're just lost. And it's a pity. I mean, it was good stuff. I could identify that when I was a kid reading it. But there again, we have to get published. So take it on yourself to do that, okay? So before we go, because I don't have that much time on this tape, be sure to pick up a copy of Enslaved. This is my newest novel. It's on Kindle now, and make sure you get a copy of it, okay? Kindle. Enslaved. Got it, got it. Now make sure before you go, like this channel, and what do we always say? Love to you.